What's good, my people? Welcome into Buckets, Action Network's daily NBA betting podcast. We're in the workshop Friday NBA slate, 10-game slate. Man, working with a new guy, my homie, Kyle Murray. First time doing Buckets. Hopefully we got some winners for you. Also with me, Bryan Fonseca. You know the man. We are recording this live from our Tommy John home studios. You know the deal. We get the play, we get the cap, we get you guys out of here. First off, go download the Action Network app. Go lock into the Action Network YouTube page. Tons of content coming out of the Action Network house for March Madness. We're tipped. We're rolling. Day one almost in the book. St. John's taking care of business towards the late slate right now. Full day of games as you're probably listening to this on Friday. Go check us out, man. Tons of stuff coming out, breaking down every single March Madness game. But we're the schmucks still talking about the NBA because we're NBA heads. So that's what we're going to break down on a Friday. Kyle Murray, give me your best bet for the Friday NBA slate.
Yeah, I got two player props here going with two overs in March, which, has been pretty dicey as we've been seeing over the past few weeks here. But I got Cade over 36.5 points and assists, and I got Franz Wagner over 24.5 points against the Wizards.
Bryan Fonseca, double dipped last time he was on the mic. He's going right back to it. Give me your best bet for the Friday NBA slate.
Yeah, going back to my old trick from Monday, which worked. We're going Heat first quarter, Rockets full game, and we're going Heat first half, Rockets full game, plus 360 and plus 490 respectively.
I'm going Tyler Hero, under 10.5 boards plus assists as they try to pick up a win off 9 straight losses against the Houston Rockets. We'll talk about it all. All right, Kyle, I'm coming to you because Fonseca's play has a lot of explaining to do. So let's get warmed up here, and we'll come back to Fonseca as he breaks down first quarter, first halves, and full game. Talk to me about Franz first. I love Franz. Orlando's playing a lot better of late. They started the season off so well. One of my favorite teams to watch. Suggs goes down, of course. They just had a rough stretch with injuries and just trying to get back into a consistent starting five. Talk to me about Franz, and then we'll click over to Cade after that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, when it comes down to player props, a lot of it's going to be being able to project these guys' minutes. And this game, surprisingly, even though they're playing a Wizards team that is pretty much done playing all these vets, only a 7.5 point spread here. So if this game can stay even remotely close and we can see Franz play 34, 35 minutes, he's going to project really well. In that time, I've been projected for about 28.1 points. He's been a bit inconsistent as of late with his efficiency, but the volume's been great for him. 32% usage rate over the course of the season with Jalen Suggs off the floor, as you mentioned. So the volume's been good, and with that inconsistent play, I think this could be a good spot for them to look to get him going, maybe get into a little bit of a rhythm here against a Washington team that's allowing the most points per game to opposing players and opposing wings so far this season. So I think it's going to be a great matchup for Franz to go along with his incredible volume.
I'm a big fan of Franz's game, and when he gets in that mode, he really just tries to drag Orlando to the promised land on any given night when Paolo has it going or not. I think that's a really good point, that even just like sometimes when it comes to the props, let's strip it down to the basics. What's the matchup going to be? How many minutes are they expected to play? Is it a high usage player or not? How many looks are they going to get? What's the volume going to look like? Going into the Knicks game, on Knicks pregame, I talked about Lonzo Ball, and I talked about so many on-ball defenders that might be able to give him trouble from three on the New York Knicks. Of course, Mikal, OG, and Deuce. But he doesn't care. I think LaMelo Ball's shooting like 35% on, I think, this month from deep, from the floor. But the volume never wavers. It's always 11, 12 attempts. No matter what, he's going to get them up. So those are the type of guys you want to back when we're talking about knocking down threes or PRAs or whatever you want to go about. So, of course, Lonzo goes 5 for 10, or LaMelo, goes 5 for 10 from three against the Knicks, who can't defend the three. But, yeah, good point off the top. Who's going to get minutes? Who's going to have the rock in their hands? Who's going to make things happen? Fonseca, what do you think about Orlando right now? Because they don't seem like a team that's given up on the year. They still seem to be fighting and trying to claw back and grab as many positions in that eastern side as they can. as they head into the play-in. How you feel about that Franz Wagner prop?
Orlando generally has scared me this season, but Franz versus Washington should not. So I love that part of it as well. Washington is who Washington is. Like they were a team that I thought they're actually not as bad as I thought they were going to be coming into the season. That said, they're still probably going to hit their under, which I hope they do because I bet it at 20.5 under in terms of win total. Orlando, after a really, really cold stretch, has at least been fine lately. Little like 500 over these last 6 games and what have you. And with, some good wins on the road, obviously, with Cleveland in particular being the standout one. Paolo Banchero talking his shit, which is fun to see against the Cavaliers. And there's still a defense that I wouldn't want to see in the playoffs. So we'll see if they get in there because it looks like they're going to have to survive the play-in first. But yeah, I like this look because it's Washington and Franz Wagner should be able to have his way with the defense like this, who Orlando, given their offensive struggles, like they could still put up 120 against this defense pretty easily if they want to.
One thing, too, that jumps out, Franz is getting to the line almost a full free throw more when he's on the road this year, from 4.6 at home to 6.0 on the road. That's almost a free throw and a half. It kind of just goes back to, like I said, when things need to get done, Franz has no problem putting it on his back and taking care of business. So it can get it at multiple different levels. So I like that spot for Murray and Franz. All right, talk to me about Cade, the goddamn killer, man. I've seen this dude live multiple times now. He's as good as advertised. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Because, look, you can do a lot of shit on Wednesdays and Thursdays during the season when no one's really watching. I'm really excited to see Cade in the playoffs and what he's going to look like when the lights are bright and, you've been getting a little bit of love and people are saying you're that guy. But now, you might be in Cleveland or you might be going possession to possession with Dame Lillard and Giannis or the Knicks or whatever it is. So I'm excited about that. Talk to me about Cade and why you're looking at it over here.
Yeah, it's been cool to see Cade take that, that real big leap forward this year. Obviously, as a Pistons fan, like that, we've been kind of waiting on that the past couple of years. So it's good to see him really take that step forward this year. And he had that stretch. It was like a 2-week stretch where he played Boston, Cleveland, Denver, and then the Thunder game where he got ejected, which was unfortunate. But he didn't really back down from any of those games. So I'm excited to see him in the playoffs. Like you mentioned, though, it is a whole different ball game in the postseason. But this matchup here against a Dallas team that's been shorthanded the past month or so, kind of just rotating guys in, bringing guys off the couch. It's been a pretty misadventurous last few weeks here for Dallas team, but they've actually done a pretty good job of keeping games close. This game has an 8.5 point spread as well, obviously with Detroit on the road. So I do think this game is going to stay remotely close to where, again, we're looking at pretty solid minutes for Cade. And again, the team just rolls around him, right? 34% usage rate, 43% assist rate. Great matchup here as well, as the Mavs are allowing the 6th most points and the 10th most assists to opposing guards. So matchup is good, volume's good. I think this game's going to stay close enough to where he's going to be playing, mid-30s minutes again. And again, he projects for about 29 points and right around 10 assists as well as Cade. Again, he can get it done both these ways. Like, it wouldn't really be all that surprising if he goes out and scores 35 points or has, on the flip side, 15 assists to kind of help along this prop here. But, again, when you're looking just at projections, projecting for right around 40 points and assists, love the spot here for Cade tonight.
I mean, Fonseca, Murray was being nice. They damn near, they were talking about forfeiting games. They couldn't get guys suited up.
Yeah.
Pulling guys from wherever is dead on. Last 10 games, 29th in defense. I'm not close to the team, but the day-to-day has to be in shambles. The locker room has to be in shambles. Absolutely nothing to play for. And then on the flip side, you still got a team in Detroit that has a lot of things going for them and feels like they have a competitive ball club, and Cade is the head of that snake. What do you think about Cade in an over here against – I don't even know how to explain Dallas at the moment, but against a team that is having trouble fielding players, and then you have to stop one of the best ball handler creators in the NBA.
Dallas is 3-11 since the All-Star break, and 1-9 in their last 10. And yet they could still make the playoffs if they go on a little run or make the play-in at the very least. I'm pissed off that I didn't take Cade's points plus assists last game because I really wanted to, and then I just scared myself off. Instead, took something else that didn't cash. Typical, because that's betting. Like, you overthink one thing and then you don't think enough on the other thing, and then it just goes against you. But Cade Cunningham last game he cashed. It was 34.5. Believe me, I looked at it. It was 34.5 against the Miami Heat. He got to 36. I think he's obviously in a better spot now because the Heat are better defensively than Dallas. They're not playing like a good team right now. We'll get into that shortly. But in this matchup in particular, like the way Dallas' defense has been, the defense was the calling card coming into the season, and we know the team is a lot different now, even from a health standpoint, than it was earlier this year. So it's time to take advantage. And after this, they go on a little road trip where, I mean, the games aren't the most difficult in the world, but big picture for Dallas, like, we'll see how much longer they can hang on to sniffing around the play-in, because you got a road trip coming up and you have winnable games, but they haven't been able to win the winnable games, and obviously they're losing most of them right now. So they're in a tailspin.
Yeah, I think that's yeah, that's the nice way to put it. I mean, everything is absolutely on fire. The house, the franchise, everything, the fan base. It's all bad over there. And when we talk about just second chance points allowed, bottom of the NBA, the last 10 games, second chance points allowed, points in the paint allowed. They're just giving up everything for a lot of different reasons. So yeah, I'm not gonna fault Kyle for going ahead and taking the young boy, Cade Cunningham, to produce and score himself. All right, Bryan Fonseca, tell the people what happened the other day. You fade, I believe, the Knicks early, game late, and it came to fruition. It was dead on, 4.5, 5-1 in some spots. The Knicks continue to be one of the worst teams in the NBA. Not one of the worst team in the NBA in the first quarter by a very wide margin. Tell the people what you did, then tell the people what you're going to do.
So, I took heading into Monday, and this was at the Garden. It was Heat first quarter and Heat first half, and Knicks full game in both instances. One was plus 500. The other, I think, was 370. So if you look at the Heat's losing streak, this has happened in the 9 games they've lost. They've led at the end of the first quarter and halftime 4 times. Yet, because, I mean, you kind of have to do this, I guess, the books still have this at plus 490 and plus 360, respectively, to happen this time around against a team in Houston who's getting Amen Thompson back, who's probable. So likely getting Amen Thompson back, we'll couch that. And also a team in Houston who is very good defensively. The total for this game is 213.5. That would be classic Heat basketball if they were a good team. They're not a good team right now, right this second. They start off well, and then teams, manage to get Bam out of the game offensively in the fourth quarter, and then Tyler Hero is not who the Heat want him to be. So in terms of closing, it's not the easiest thing in the world. And then obviously the supporting cast doesn't do enough. It's like this rotating thing every single night. Same story. So against the Bulls, against the Hornets, against the Knicks, and against the Pistons last game, the Heat led at the end of the first quarter and at halftime. Last game, it was 32-22 at the end of the first quarter, and at halftime, it was 60-58 before they eventually coughed up the lead. They even led after the third quarter, and they led, I forget if it was by 8 or 10 or whatever it was in the fourth, but they ended up losing the game, as we remember. Cade Cunningham had the late shot, and it's just figuring out another way to lose. Epic tanking job, by the way. I mean, I know they're not tanking because they're actually trying to win games because they're not playing Josh Christopher, they're not playing Isaiah Stevens, they're actually playing like veterans. But this is just amazing if you're somebody who's rooting for them to get a shot at a VJ Edgecombe or even a Cooper Flag or, somebody like that. But yeah, I'm doing it again in this game. Houston, not great in fourth quarters, not great in fourth quarters on the road, but you at least trust their defense. and the Heat have been struggling offensively. And this is a matchup where the Heat, again, will be running up against a very good defense, who's getting Amin Thompson back after he's been out for almost 2 weeks. So we're going Heat first quarter, Rockets full game. That's plus 490. And the other one, first half. No, that's plus 360. And then first half full game is plus 490. It's just a bet that I'm going to keep on hitting until the Heat could prove maybe multiple times that they can finish games.
Murray, what do you think? I got a couple questions I want to come back in and ask Fonseca about the Heat overall. But I'll give you a little layup here. Overall, when we talk about the first quarter, Brooklyn Nets, really, really good. Los Angeles Lakers, really, really good. We all, especially lately, we all know about Luka Doncic and his first quarter performance until he starts to get a wee bit tired and the production falls off a bit. But number 3, Houston Rockets in the first quarter are very good. They're 24-9 ATS on the road in the first quarter. 41-28-1 in the first quarter overall. That would be my only hesitation because I actually was looking at Miami first quarter and I'm like, they've actually have done the thing where like, we got to come out and get a win. They get max effort early and then they just fade away into the oblivion and can't close the game.
Yeah.
But Houston's just so tough. Now we got Amin Thompson coming back in the fold. Murray, what do you think about first quarter full game play and just overall that sequence and just trying to find different spots for different value or maybe greater value in a month of March that it is a little spooky right now in the NBA streets?
Yeah, I think it's a great read. I mean, I think something that I sort of don't often, look past enough is because a lot of times I'm looking so closely at just the numbers and the projection aspects of things. It's tough to transition that into the mindset of some of these teams, especially when they're late in the season where they don't have a lot to play for. Like you guys just alluded to, where the Heat, they come out firing, they're trying to win these games and they sort of taper off because, they realize that they're falling behind and, not as much to play for here. But so I like the angle quite a bit. If you wanted to add a couple things to the angle, we've seen Fred VanVleet look a little rusty at times since he returned from the injury. And Thompson missed the last couple of weeks. Maybe he'll start with a little bit of rust as well. I'm sure he'll be fine. Maybe getting a few minutes into the game will allow him to shake some of that rust off. But the Heat, like Brian mentioned, have just found incredible ways to lose games. Obviously, Cade banked one in on it was either Tuesday or Wednesday night down there in Miami. So they continue to find ways to lose games. So I like the angle, I like the read, and I like the trend that the Heat have been putting in there. So I like the play.
Fonseca, let me ask you this. Let's get a little first take with it here on buckets before I get into my Tyler Hero handicap. It's been I want to because I respect what's been going on in Miami.
I do.
But I think the best way to describe what's happening right now is it's real stale down there. Is there ever how would you feel about like in a perfect world, NBA world for me, I would love to see Spo pack up his bags and say, yo, man, I did everything I could for the Miami Heat. We had a phenomenal run. I'm gonna go to San Antonio and I'm gonna lock in with Wemby and Fox or something like that and just start it all over and maybe just get a fresh start and a new project because I don't know the insides of him and Pat Riley's relationship, but I'll tell you this, brother. Since LeBron has left, they had a bubble run with Jimmy Butler going bananas. Then they have a couple other ridiculous runs where Jimmy Butler just essentially goes scorched earth and they get it done. But we're on the mic every single night, Fonseca, especially in the playoffs. This team really never really had a chance to win the title. And we were shocked more times than not that they were in the finals or even competing in the Eastern Conference Finals, right? It feels like to me, they struck gold over that window where they were able to even push the team that far. Now it's time to pay the piper. You move on from Jimmy Butler, and it's a lot of Pat Riley, man. It's Pat Riley. It's Spo. Like it's almost like we're allergic to giving them any criticism but it seems very negative over there right now for me. And I don't see a way for them to get out of this play-in window the next couple years unless some real NBA shit happens where they pull off some type of maneuver and Durant and somebody else goes there or what have you. But where are you at on the Miami Heat franchise overall? And I doubt Spo would ever pack it up and leave, but man, would I like to see him go.
It's been reported in the past that the Blazers have sniffed around that just because he has ties to that area. But I mean, that obviously ain't happening. Especially after how the whole Dame thing went down. I don't know if there's I don't know if that's a possibility. What people close to the team will tell you that it's a one voice organization where the top guys get on the same page. The top guys being the Harrisons, Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra,
no doubt,
Adam Simon, etc. Andy Ellisberg as well. Like those guys, they operate as a unit, so to speak. And there's a gift and a curse with that. The gift is stability. You're able to put teams together that can go on runs. The curse is that, when you operate on a one-track mind, you sometimes need some fresh new ideas. You sometimes need like some sort of change. You sometimes want, a little bit of a change in the coaching, not the coaching with Eric Spoelstra, but like underneath him with the assistants. Can you get like a coordinator, like, in football where you get somebody to coach the offense, somebody to like those type of things. The offense in particular, because Spoelstra is like a mastermind defensively, and this is actually the worst defense statistically that they're going to have in about 10 years, but it's still going to end up being likely a top 12 defense, maybe even top 10. We'll see where it lands. I think right now it's at 12. Now, in terms of the run itself, I mean, I thought that they were going to get to the Eastern Conference finals when they got Jimmy Butler that year. I was probably one of the only people, but I saw it and I'm like, Jimmy's underrated. I saw what Bam was doing when they benched Hassan Whiteside at the end of that year. And I was like, no, Bam's going to be really good. Now, Bam was an all-star right away. That I didn't see. He was all-star and all-defense right away. And I think we forget, Bam gets hurt and Goran Dragic gets hurt in game 1 of the finals. I still think the Lakers probably win that series, but the fact that it got to 6, despite those injuries, that's not nothing, right? And the Denver one was a tough matchup. I actually think the best Heat team that they had during that run was the 21-22 team, where they were shooting awesome from 3 in the regular season, and then that went to just flipped in the playoffs, where the reverse happened the next year. And that year, that came down to Jimmy Butler's shot, Game 7 against the Celtics that just missed. But he makes that shot. I think they beat Golden State in the finals. Like, I think that team was good enough to do that. That was their best team. That was the 1 seed. And like they could have done those things. So right now, it's just mediocrity, right? And you have to dig yourself up out of it. Like Bam is proving from a defensive standpoint, he's always going to be worth the money. And on offense, like he can do a lot, but he has to do a lot. And that's kind of a problem. Like you need more scoring there. So it's like insert Tyler Hero. And Tyler Hero, like for me, that type of player who is offense heavy, who is going to be a liability on defense constantly, and who needs the ball to be effective and needs the ball a lot to be effective. Like those type of guys aren't typically the ones who push you over the top, because the guards who win titles are Derek White, who can do more than that, who can also play defense, or Drew Holiday, who could do more than that, who could play defense. Jamal Murray, when he's playing with Nikola Jokic, but can play well in fourth quarters. And like if you just, Steph Curry is like a 1 of 1, and they think that Tyler Hero is going to be more than I think he's going to be personally, and more than a lot of people think he's going to be personally. Like him being an all-star sort of validates in their mind, oh, he's going to be awesome. When you look at the list of all-stars that they had, and he was the worst all-star there. Like objectively, it just is.
I think overall, and just so we don't talk about this for another 15 minutes.
I got
I know you got the clip. I know you got it loaded up. I already know. So that's why I'm like, let me slow this up a second. But it feels over. I'll give you a quick word, Murray. It feels to me like Riley doesn't want to strip it and rebuild it because he's never had to. He never had to.
Sean, He just turned 80. He just turned 80 this week.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
He ain't trying to straight,
but this is, I guess this is kind of what I'm getting at is like, maybe Spoelstra is like, man, this is just a stale ass situation. That situation fascinates me quite a bit because I don't see any way that they can compete with the top 4 or 5 teams in the East the next couple of seasons unless something drastic happens. And I don't see anything drastic happening. So why not pack up and get out of there early? Murray, what do you think? And then I'll get to this Tyler Hero cap.
Yeah, I think the San Antonio kind of dream would be a perfect match. I think I will say it's unique because in the NBA it doesn't happen as often where, like you mentioned, situations run sort of stale. Because I think we've seen at least recently a lot of coaches have been quick exit. Like so you look at Monty Williams, massive deal to go to Detroit. They gave him 1 year. Like I feel like compared to other sports, a little bit quicker trigger in the NBA. But Spoelstra, like you mentioned, he's kind of tied down there. He's got his roots. So it'll be interesting to see how it works out. But I definitely sort of see where you guys are coming from, where it sort of feels like a stale vibe, and you kind of like wonder what their ceiling is now, and sort of if they ever want to, kind of rip things down and look for, to chase a higher ceiling. So definitely an interesting situation for sure.
Yeah, man. 3
Sean,
years from now, Fonseca.
Let me ask you a question on this. Let me ask you a question on this. If they get Durant, which I think they're going to try to do, but not land because they can get beat. But if they get him and the package is whatever, expiring picks, whatever, does it change anything?
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you can add Durant and he's still playing at the level that he is, of course, that would help quite a bit. But what are the chances of that? I'm not sure. I think the chances are greater that in 2 to 3 years, I'm calling you and we're talking about Bam and Hero and a couple other guys, and they have 43 wins. You know what I'm saying?
Hero, by the way, is extension eligible after next season.
Yeah.
And that's freaking Heat fans out because they're like, oh my God, they're going to give him a max.
Hey, but if we're going to keep it a bean about Hero, and this will be the perfect segue into my cap, he's done everything they've asked him to do. He's been a model citizen, and he's improved his game year in, year out. So when it's time for extensions, there's not going to be – he's going to have at least enough leverage to be like, I don't know what else you guys would have wanted me to do. I've done nothing but improve my game. I've been an all-star, and I bought in to the Heat culture wholeheartedly. So
he needs to impact winning more. That's all.
Yeah.
He needs help in his defense, but
correct. So we'll see. Sorry to Matt Mitchell that I took us off that tangent. My bad, my brother. All right, let me jump into this Tyler Hero cap. I'll keep it short since we went a little long, but I'm going to go Tyler Hero under 10.5 rebounds plus assists. He desperately need offense, and Hero's the only guy that can provide that. I think that'll be his focus, especially when we're talking about one of the best defensive teams in the league with Amen Thompson probable on the sheet as we record this at Thursday, March 20th at 11:58, just before the stroke of midnight. Over this 9-game losing streak, they're 30th in offense. It's just going to be a very difficult spot for him offensively and to create for others, and that's where I'm talking about fading him on the assists. Now, Houston allows the least amount of assists in the NBA at 22.8. That's for the full year. Rockets number 1 in rebounding percentage all year long. They've been consistent there. They're number 1 for the full season. Last 15 games, number 1 in rebounding percentage. They clean the glass up extremely well. Now, when we talk about Hero's game log, last 3 games, 7 rebounds plus assists, 4 rebounds plus assists versus the New York Knicks, 9 rebounds plus assists versus Memphis. He's had, in the last 7 games, he's had more than 5 rebounds one time. I think this is a really good spot for Hero to be focused on scoring, have that, and not have to. I just don't see any scenario where he's creating a bunch and cleaning up the glass unless he gets a bunch of bounce around, easy rebounds. Pace is slow, 28th for the Miami Heat. The Rockets are 19th. I feel like this number should still be 10.5, but it should be juiced minus 135, minus 140 to the under. I could see Hero on a 25, 5-5, 25, 6-4, either way, 25, 4-4, whatever you want to do, whatever combo. I think it just all leans and points to staying under when it comes to points and assists for Tyler Hero. Something interesting I found, if you look at, so Wiggins is questionable on the sheet, so we'll see if he goes or not. But in 262 minutes with Hero and Andrew Wiggins on the same floor, his rim percentage goes up to 83.3%. Without Wiggins, it's obviously a ton more minutes. That's a small sample size, but it's down to 63.1%. He shoots the three ball without Andrew Wiggins on the floor at essentially 12 more percentage points. So something to keep an eye on when it comes to Wiggins being on the floor. It might be a spot for props for Hero threes or either over or under, depending on if Wiggins goes. But either way, I don't expect Hero to be creating here against one of the best defenses in the league in a slow-paced game, and a team that doesn't allow assists. And I don't see him cleaning up the glass where Bam will do that on his end, and then he's going up against the best defensive rebounding team in the association all year long. So I'm going to go under 10.5 rebounds plus assists for Tyler Hero. Kyle Murray, what do you think?
Yeah, I like it. You alluded to a lot of the matchup stuff. When you look at assists, no team is allowing fewer assists to opposing guards than the Rockets. So I like that one quite a bit. And you mentioned the rebound rates. He just hasn't really been overly active. Sub 10 rebound chances over the last 10 games. So love that number there as well. And then when looking at the projection, having closer to 9.2 rebounds and assists. So yeah, I like the under here. I think it's a good call.
Fonseca, any thoughts?
Houston allows the 6th fewest rebounds and the fewest assists per 100 possessions. Tyler Hero, who's typically a really good rebounder, also has to worry about Amen Thompson, who is probable, who is a really, really, really good wing rebounder, one of the best in the NBA. So point in your favor. And, Tyler has had games where he's had big rebounding performances, but not as of late. So.
All right. Let's see what my guy Tyler Hero does. We mentioned at the top of the show that we're coming to you live from our Tommy John home studios, and that's because great games start with great underwear, and Tommy John makes the greatest. I got the Tommy John draws on right now, just like I do every Buckets episode. I tell y'all that they're extremely comfortable, super flexible, and that goes for the pajamas, the shirts. I got it all. It's very top of the line stuff, and I wouldn't gas it if it wasn't. Remember, when you're truly comfortable, you do everything better, and that includes betting. So if you love the Buckets podcast, if you love this crew, you'll love Tommy John. Get 25% off your first order right now at TommyJohn.com/buckets. That's 25% off at TommyJohn.com/buckets. And since we're talking Tommy John, let's get into the Tommy John Big Ballsy Parlay. All right, you just heard me. I'm going Tyler Hero under 10.5 boards plus assists. Combined, Franz Wagner over 24.5 points. Cade Cunningham over 36.5 points plus assists. Let's go Rockets money line. Little four-legger plus 748 in the market. Don't go crazy. We're straight bettors over here on the Buckets pod. We try and be efficient with our units and our dollars, but if you do like that parlay, go ahead, plug it in, almost 7.5 to your money. To recap, Kyle Murray's on Franz Wagner over 24.5 points and Cade Cunningham over 36.5 points plus assists. Bryan Fonseca, Heat first quarter, Rockets full game plus 360. Heat first half, Rockets full game plus 490. I'm on Tyler Hero under 10.5 rebounds plus assists. We don't have to talk about the Heat for a while. For Kyle Murray, for Bryan Fonseca, I am your host, Sean Little. Remember, go subscribe to the Action Network YouTube page. It's always better on video. If you listen to the audio version of this, go follow. It's late, people. Kyle Murray on Twitter. Where can they find you? I got to lock in with you as well.
Yeah, it's at KMurDFS.
Done. At Bryan Fonseca. What is it? Yours B Fonseca?
No, I'm not gonna make that joke. It's just my name and then NY at the end. It was gonna be TMI. I just can't do it.
Bryan Fonseca NY. Lock in with Bryan. I'm at Chicago Flow. Thank y'all for listening. Enjoy the weekend. Until next time, which is Monday, let's get buckets, baby.